Thanks for joining us here at Functional Bliss, where Audra and Jessica will guide you through exercises and wellness techniques to help you live your best life every day. It's in the name after all, Functional Bliss. Before you do anything else, click like and subscribe and ring the bell so you'll know whenever we put up a new video. To join our Blissful Gang for live Zoom classes where you can get more direct suggestions and encouragement, go to our website and sign up. Check the class description below for any equipment needs, grab your gear, and let's get started.
Oh, okay. All right. So the first minute of work, think of this first minute of work as kind of a little bit of a game. So whether or not you go 30 seconds one foot, 30 seconds the other, or whether you keep alternating between the two. So it's going to be a little bit of a single leg work. So you're going to stand on one foot and you're going to start to do some side bends. So you're going to try to hold and maintain your balance. If you lose your balance and you need to switch over to the other foot, then your game is going to be each time you lose your balance, you take it over to the other foot, try to catch your equilibrium, and then take it over to the other side. If your balance holds the whole time, if you've got just like your balance is on fire this morning, things are working great, then you're just going to go 30 seconds one side, and then you'll switch to the other side at the 30 seconds. So you're going to allow this work to be what's happening in your body this morning. Hands wherever you like them, but we're side bending. So one foot's off the ground and we're just side bending a little. It doesn't need to be extreme. And then notice where your balance is at. So if you tip over, catch your equilibrium, get into those side bends the other side. If you lose it, catch it on the other side. You got 5 seconds left if your balance has been going the whole time and you're on one side. All right, if you were standing on leg the whole time, switch over to the other foot. And then you're going to notice here, like, where is your balance at? You got 25 seconds left. You're either switching from side to side. Nice work. And then if you like really feeling that good core work, put your hands, put your focaccia fingers right on your belly. And then as you do your side bends, you're going to feel your oblique muscles. You're going to feel your core abdominal muscles contracting and doing a little bit of work and helping catch your balance. You got 1 second left. All right, shake out your legs, shake out your legs. Now we're going to take it to the back end of our mat. We're walking forward and back, but we're adding a little bit of single leg twist work. So you're going to pick up one knee. You're going to twist towards your standing leg. So you're not twisting toward the knee that's lifted. This is a little bit of strengthening work for the foot, ankle, and the knee, and it also works your core. So stand on one foot, twist towards your standing leg, unwind your twist, step forward, do it to the other side. So we're moving forward and back, finding a little bit of standing leg balance, twist towards your standing leg best you can, and then switch over to the other side. So we're twisting towards that standing leg to encourage a little bit of that inner thigh and knee strength. Your leg doesn't have to be lifted to the extreme to give you that single leg balance. But if you can, hold it up there, get those hip flexors working too. You're already halfway there. Nice job. 10 seconds left. And time. Beautiful work. Okay, next minute of work is going to be a super slow good morning. Now, if you're ready to grab some hand weights, you're going to grab your hand weights, you're going to load them up the shoulders. Feet are going to be about hip or shoulder distance apart. If you like a little pigeon toe action, maybe turn your toes in slightly, but we're going to go super slow. So we're going to focus on a little micro bend in our knees. You're going to go for pushing the butt back. So as you hip hinge, the big deep work is how far back and how slow can you push your butt back, keep that long spine, and then come up nice and slow. And we're going to keep a slight double tuck of the chin. It's super slow motion work. So don't go for speedy, go for as slow as you can. Load up at the shoulders or just hands on the hips. That's going to be totally up to you, but go for a nice long spine. You're staying long in your spine the whole time. Your eyes are going to follow the movement. So that means as you tip forward, your eyes are going to start to look at that, maybe the front end of your mat, down towards the ground. Perhaps, depending on how deep you fold, maybe you're looking down between your two big toes, and then you're coming up nice and slow and controlled. Keep your knees slightly bent. You want to feel that little bit of tug in the backs of your thighs. As you hit that end point of your hip hinge, you may feel maybe a little tug or stretch, and then you'll feel the contraction of the muscles as you push into your heels and come back up. Nice job. You got 20 seconds left. Slow as you can. And time. Nicely done. Okay, now grab a light or medium set of hand weights, and it's going to be alternating front lunges. We're going to focus on that little bit of a push off with the front leg, and then as you come back into your standing position, it's going to be a press straight out from the chest. So you're going to load up at your shoulders, step 1 foot forward, come into your lunge, big push off. As you come back up, a little chest press, and then switch to the other side. Lunge, focus on that push off. So we want to use those top of the thigh or front of the thigh muscles, get them warming up and get them working. We've got 1 minute on the clock. We're alternating between the two legs. If you have a tendency in your lunges to be a little bit wobbly or a little unstable, step it forward but wide, push off, come back in, do your chest press over to the other side. So a little bit of a wide stance so that you feel that stability, and then come back in nice and strong. You've got it. And then as you do that press in your standing position, straight from the chest, use the backs and the shoulders, but not the hips. So we're not trying to thrust the hips to get that push to happen. We push off from the thighs out of the lunge, stand nice and firm, press straight from the chest. You've got it. 15 seconds left. And time. Nice job. Okay, we're going to stick with those weights, or you'll switch just depending. It's going to be a squat to an overhead press. So a slightly wide position with the feet, toes slightly turned out, stay loaded up at the shoulders, sink into a little squat, overhead press. That's all the work you got to do. We've got 1 minute on the clock. We're going to go at a moderate pace. Doesn't need to be super fast, but now we're just starting to build up a little extra warmth and heat in the body. We want to think butt back, bend the knees so the chest and chin stay lifted for this one. And then if you like working with that Pilates breath, you'll exhale as you push off and up. So you'll inhale as you sink into your seat, and then you'll exhale as you come up. Nice job. 20 seconds left. And time. Beautiful work. Okay, now we're taking it into a deadlift with a bicep curl, which means there's a little bit of a flip and rotation of the palms to get that bicep curl. So palms facing in. Now we're going for that hip hinge. So we're going to push the butt back, hip hinge, bend forward, flip your palms, full range of motion, bicep curl, slower on the lower, flip the palms, hip hinge, heart comes forward, come back up, flip the palms, full range of motion, and a slightly slower lower. We've got 1 minute on the clock. Do this work at your pace and go for the weights that feel the most appropriate for you here. So heavy might feel real good. We're using the butt muscles, the hamstring muscles, the back body muscles, and then biceps are really strong. So if you've got really nice heavy set of weights and it feels good to do so here, switch to those heavy weights. Similar to that good morning. So when we hip hinge, our head is going to follow that movement pattern. So your eyes should move with you. That means you're looking forward as you come up, and then you're gazing down between those two big toes as you fold. Nice job. 20 seconds left. And time. Beautiful. Okay, now maybe switching back over to a light set of weights. We're going to do 30 seconds one side, 30 seconds the other, but now it's that little bit of a Tai Chi lunge with the push and pull of our arms. So you're going to load up at your shoulders, step 1 foot forward. We're going to stick with one side for 30 seconds. So you lunge a little bit forward. That front knee tends to go past the toe. So go where you feel the strongest. Reach out with the weights and then pull them back in toward your heart. So you bend that back knee as you come in. Reach forward and pull it in. So we're moving forward and back. We got 30 seconds to go. Find a pace that feels good to you and just choose the weights that feel great according to your shoulders. Nice job. This is a nice big challenge because we bring that weight all the way forward. So we challenge that top of the thigh. We challenge that front knee. All right, when you're ready, switch your stance and then right back to work. Bending forward, reaching the body forward, leaning back into that back leg. So it's a little bit of a Tai Chi lunge. And then we push and pull the arms. Yes, nice job. And time. Nicely done. All right, the next bit of work, it's going to be 30 seconds of work, 30 seconds of work, and then we'll switch and repeat that on the other side. So find a nice wide stance. You'll use 2 hand weights. Starting with that wide lunge, it's going to be that pick it up, put it down, put it down. So you're going to put your weights down, pick your weights up. 30 seconds of work there. And then at the 30-second mark, we'll switch to one side and take it into a low lawnmower crank. So start to find your pick it up, put it down work. Pick one weight up, pick the other weight up, and then set them down. And we're driving with the elbows. We're bending into those side lunges. Nice job. All right, grab one single weight. Take it over to one knee, and now we're just cranking the lawnmower. Elbow rests on the knee, but the ribs are lifted upwards, so we're not resting on the knee. We're just using it as that little support. And we're driving that elbow up towards the ceiling, and there is a little bit of rotation as we pull the elbow back. 10 seconds left. All right, now when you're ready, we're taking it right back to that pick it up, put it down, put it down. So set your weight down and then back to work, alternating between the two sides. Driving with the elbows, moving the inner thighs. Nice job. All right, pick up one weight, take it over to the other side, elbow to the knee, ribs stay lifted up, and we just pull that elbow up like we're cranking a lawnmower or pulling the string of a lawnmower. Ribs move a little bit, shoulder moves a little bit, but the bottom ribs stay lifted away from the thighs. So we're not sinking into it. We're staying upright and in control of our torso. Nice job. 10 seconds left. And time. Beautiful work. Okay, pick up your weights. Go for heavier if it feels good because we're going into a farmer's carry. For the first minute of work for our farmer's carry, just a nice even stance with our feet, arms held about 4 inches away from the sides of the hips. Walk with an intentional footfall. So think heels, ball, toe, toe, ball, heel. Work through the bottom of your feet. So not going for pace, going for control, holding the weights away from the side of the body. We got 1 minute on the clock. Walk at an intentional pace so you can notice, pay attention to your footfall. If you're working on your toe strength, or your big toe strength specifically, focus on that big toe push off. Spread your toes as wide as you can. Feel that big toe push off be the last move, especially in that forward step. Arms stay held away from the side of the body. And then once you've got that going on, your gaze is forward. So you have nice upright spine. You're looking forward, not down at your feet, because you know what your feet are doing now. Nice job. 15 seconds left. All right, we're going to keep walking, but now we're going to switch our walking pattern just a little bit. So we're going to take it up into a waitress carry. So whether you go bent elbows or arms all the way up and overhead, totally up to you. Find your overhead hold that makes the most sense to your body. And now we're going to pick up the pace just a little bit. So we're in a little bit of a hurry now. We're not going to focus too much on our footfall, but we're still staying nice and upright. Once you've got that walking pattern down, eyes forward. If your chest and your ribs are puffing up to hold those weights up and overhead, pull the ribs back. Keep a little bit of intentional integrity in your center. You guys look amazing. Nice job. Ten seconds left. All right, 5 more seconds. Now, when the bell rings, we're going to switch. One arm is going to be up, one arm is going to be down, and now we're taking it right into a figure 8 walking pattern. So switch your walking pattern, start to walk in a little bit of a figure 8. If you have a lot of space to roam where you're working, go as big in your figure 8 as feels good. We want that little bit of a pivot and a turn. It's good for our ankles. It's good for our knees. We want that little bit of rotational work down at our feet. We want to challenge our feet and our big toes and our ankles to move in different walking patterns. All right, when you're ready, switch the other arm up, the other arm down. That bottom arm is being held away from the side of the body. And then if you like that little reverse, switch your figure 8 walking pattern. Same thing here. Like if you have a lot of space to walk in, go for as big of a figure 8 as feels good. Focus on that little turn, that little ankle push off, that little big toe push off. You got 10 seconds left. And time. Nicely done. Okay, now we're going to take it to the end of our mat. It's going to be an inchworm. We're going to walk out to a plank. It's going to be a leg lift, walk it back. If you're like, no thanks, I don't feel like the inchworms are for me this morning, or if inversions aren't your thing right now, you're going to stay in your plank position, low plank, tall plank, or tabletop, totally up to you. But start by taking it to the back end of your mat, walk it out to that plank position, find your plank position. If you're going inchworms, you're going to do a little leg lift, and then you're walking your hands back towards your feet. We've got 1 minute on the clock. Come up and down if that feels right to you. If coming up and down is not for you this morning, you'll either stay in a planking position, just doing your leg lifts, or you'll stay in a knee down plank position, focusing on those leg lifts. So find the focused work that makes the most sense to you this morning. Inchworm and come up, or stay down and do the leg lifts. Either way, you're doing those planks with the leg lifts. So get that work happening. Get those big butt muscles working. You've got it. Nice job. Ten seconds left. You got this. All right, if you're doing the up and down, start to find your way down, and then we'll bring those knees down, and we're going to take it into a diagonal crawl. Now, you can keep the knees lifted the whole time if you want to, but if it feels good to just like have a little bit of a working recovery, we're going to turn ourselves sideways on our mat, and we're just going to walk sideways. So we're just crawling side to side. Find a little bit of a coordinated pattern that makes sense to your mind, that makes sense to your body. Walking sideways, noticing your knees, noticing your shoulders, noticing your wrists. Nothing extreme here, but if you want just that little extra bit of work, you can pick up your knees the whole time, or you could take your hand weights with you the whole entire time. You got 30 seconds left, no matter what work you're doing. Ten more seconds to go. All right, then when you find your way to the middle of your mat, we're going to move on into our death rolls. So it's going to be this tabletop position. You're going to kick one leg through, sit onto your butt, come all the way down, come up into a sit-up, hands find the center, come back through table, and we switch it to the other side. Leg kicks through, we come down into that sit-up position and then come back up. Now, if all of that is like not for you, or that's just a little bit much, stay on one side. You'll keep one knee bent, one leg long, and we'll just do the sit-up position if the tabletop and through doesn't feel right. And I'll tell you at the 30-second mark when you'll switch to the other side. But if it feels cool to take it through side to side, you kick one foot through, all the way down, sit up, hands to the ground, through center into table, kick the other leg through, all the way down. Find the work that makes the most sense to you this morning. All right, if you were staying on one side, switch to the other side, do the work over there. Nice job, 12 seconds left. And time. Awesome. Okay, now we're moving into our holiday season, or I like to consider it gift wrapping season. So this one's a little bit of a fun one for anyone who does their gift wrapping on the floor. You're going to step your legs out nice and wide. You'll reach for the tape. You'll reach for the scissors. You'll step your feet in. You'll reach for the paper, and you'll reach for the labels. Bring it back in. Step your feet out. Reach for the tape. Reach for the scissors. Step your feet in. Reach back and reach back. So it's a little bit of an alternation. Legs go wide as we do a crisscross forward reach. Legs step in, knees bent, lean back, do that little V sit and reach. We've got 1 minute on the clock. Find the pace that makes the most sense to you and how much intentional stretching happens here in that wide leg forward reach. Totally up to you. Legs can be as bent as you want them to be. A little bit of mobility in the hips is nice, but stretching is not our main goal. A little bit of mobility and a lot of strength is what we're shooting for here. You guys are amazing. Nice job. And time. Beautiful. Okay, step your feet in. And now we're going to take it into a rock and roll. So we're going to rock and roll with a little bit of a reverse crunch and come up for a little bit of a balance and a hold. We've got 1 minute on the clock. Now, if your back is giving you any grief this morning, if it's being a little mischievous and a little bit of rock and roll might be just the thing, minus that reverse crunch, or if just staying on the bottom half of it, doing the reverse crunch. So find the work that feels like the most sense to you this morning. Either that big rock and roll, so you come back, lift your hips, come up, hold a little balance, or if you stay somewhere in between, we're working the core muscles. So anything that gets your core muscles kicked on just a little bit, challenge the balance is fun. And a little bit of work through the spine can feel beneficial and a little bit like a massage, but only for the ones that have our back feeling good this morning. So if your back is giving you grief, do the work that feels the best to you this morning. And time. Okay, now I told you we pick up the pace and the heat comes in at the last minute. So the last, or this minute of work, it's going to be, you're coming all the way down into a supine position. You're going to come up, alternate which way you swing your legs around, step back into a plank, step in, swing your legs around, come all the way down, come all the way back up, but you'll alternate the way you swing your legs around. So you'll go from a supine position to a prone plank position. We've got 1 minute on the clock. Alternate which legs swing out to the side so you're not just moving to one side the whole entire time, unless there's an injury and a reason that you would want to only go to one side. If doubling down on this work feels like a lot, you'll go with just one or the other. So either you'll stay in a plank position or you'll just do a little prone position or supine position, sit up. So find the work that makes the most sense to you. Whatever work you're doing, you got 30 seconds left. So do it at a pace that makes reasonable sense to your body. You guys are awesome. Nice job. 5 seconds left. All right, so we want to land on our back. So when you're ready, whichever position you're in, flip yourself around so that you come back down onto your back. Next minute of work, it's going to be slightly dynamic supine twist with a little oblique crunch. So you're going to take one knee over and across like you're going for a little twist. Do a little oblique crunch. Other knee comes across, a little oblique twist. Crunch, excuse me, and then release. So we're taking it into a light twist, a little crunch on the side, bring it through center, over to the other side. Now, if you're like, I'm ready to cool down and I just want to do the supine twisting part, skip the crunches, do just that. If you're like, no, I just want the crunches, skip the supine twist, then you'll do that. And I'll tell you at the 30-second mark when to switch. So find the work that feels the best to you, a little twist, a little crunch, or a little bit of one and none of the other, totally up to you. All right, if you're working just one side, switch to the other side, stick with just that oblique crunch. If you're alternating between the two, stick with those twists, add that little crunch and release, take it over to the other side. You've got it, nice job. And time. Amazing. You guys have fired it all off today. Last minute of work. It's going to alternate between a hip bridge and a crunch. As much weight as you want to, load up at the hip points or no weight at all. It is our last minute of work. You're going to lift the hips up, go for that hip bridge, lower your hips, come up into a little crunch, lower back down. So hands can be on the ground. Hands can be loaded up at the hip points, totally up to you. Find the depth of work here that makes the most sense, but we've got 1 minute on the clock. So stay focused on what feels best to you at this point. We are at that last minute. So if a little slow down, a little cool down, and a little bit of attention to the breath can go a long way. You'll exhale as you lift up into your hip bridge, inhale to lower down, exhale to crunch up, and inhale to release. Twenty seconds left, and you're doing that big muscle work. You want to focus on that big squeeze of the butt muscles at the top of that hip bridge lower with control, contract the abdominal muscles in that crunch, lower with control. And time. Nicely done. Okay, pull both knees into your chest. Give yourself a nice little gentle squeeze. If it feels good, take your knees and just rock them a little bit side to side. One more little rock of the knees side to side, and then we're going to go feet together. Knees are going to move out and away from each other. So little butterfly circles with our knees. It's going to rock the low back a little bit. It's going to move the hips a little bit. So a little bit of hip mobility, gentle soothing work to the back. So if any way that we're moving here does not feel appropriate to your back, you'll soften or shorten the movements. Take one more circle around in this direction, and then when you're ready, reverse, go the other way. One more circle around. We're going to pull the right knee towards the chest. The left foot's going to step down, but the left knee is in the bent position, so the foot is just solid on the ground. Pause here for a moment. So we're compressing that right front pocket area. Take a nice big breath. And then you're going to hold on firm. So I like to say a little basket weave. Hold on to the top of your knee or your shin. Push your knee or your shin into your hands, and your hands are going to resist, and you're going to hold that resistance. So you're pushing the knee up. Your arms are working hard to resist it. There might be a little bit of shake in the leg muscles. Push that knee up into the hand. Hold it there for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release, switch to the other side. Left knee in, right foot down on the ground. Make your little basket weave. Hold on to your knee or your shin. When you're ready, push your knee into your hand. Your hand is creating the resistance, and we're holding that bit of tension. You might feel that little shake in the leg. Your arms are working hard. Hold that tension if you can. Hold it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Pull the right knee back in. So now both knees in. That means less of a hand hold. Hands are going to hold onto the knees or the shins. Push both knees into your hands. Hands are going to resist. Hold that resistance. Hold it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now set your left foot down. Right leg is going to come across the left into a figure 4 shape. This may be enough. For some of us, this is perfect. You don't need to go any further. If this feels good and you do want to go a little bit further, you'll lift your left leg up, thread your hands through, either grab the back of the thigh or the top of the shin, and then bring the legs in just as close to your chest as feels comfortable to you. So you may feel deep sensation in your right hip, side of the hip, deep into the glutes. Make sure you're breathing comfortably. Take about 2 more cycles of breath. Awesome. And then when you're ready, release, and we'll switch to the other side. Right foot down, left leg comes across the right. That might be enough. One side might be different than the other. So pause for a moment, make sure it feels good. If you want more sensation, you lift that right leg up, thread your hands through, either hold the back of the thigh or the tops of the shins, and then bring the legs as close to your chest as feels comfortable. And you should be breathing freely here. So you should be able to breathe in and out through your nose without any labored breath. Nice. Take one more breath. Beautiful. And then when you're ready, release your figure 4 of your legs, pull your knees into your chest, maybe give one last little rock side to side. And then we're going to rock and roll up to a seated position. So find your way up, legs out in front of you, nice and long. And we're going to take it into a nice gentle forward fold. So as much bend in your knees as feels right. Go up and over with the hands, lift the rib cage up, and then exhale, reach towards your feet. We're looking for a little stretch in the low back. We're not trying to stretch the backs of the legs here. So go where you feel that little sense of stretch in the low back, and then breathe into the back of your bra. One more breath. We're going to come around through tabletop into a standing forward fold position. But if you have a better way to get into that standing fold position, you get there in the way that makes good sense to your body. Come on around, and then as you lift up into that forward fold position, we're going to keep our knees significantly bent, and then we're going to put our hands, if you want to, put your hands on where your butt bones are. We just want to kind of get a sense of where those sitting bones are. Once you have a sense of where those sitting bones are, you're going to think about lifting your sitting bones up towards the ceiling. We're not trying to straighten the legs. We're trying to lift the sitting bones up. So think about reaching your sits bones up towards the ceiling. Let your head relax down, and then hopefully here with those sitting bones lifting up, you feel a little bit of stress in the backs of the thighs, not up into your butt. So the butt bones are lifting, but the hamstrings are getting that stretch. Keep your knees as bent as much as you need to, so you're not feeling it too much in your butt. Take one more breath. All right, and then when you're ready, bend your knees a lot, pull your abdominal muscles in, come up nice and slow and controlled. Take a couple little gentle shrugs of your shoulders, roll them in one direction. Take a couple of good shrugs of your shoulders, roll them the other way. Awesome. And then we're just going to bring one arm across the chest. So as far as feels good, drop the shoulder down, and then take about 3 to 5 nods of your head up and down. Awesome. One more nod of the head up and down, and then head comes to neutral. Release that arm, switch over to the other side, hug it in. One side might feel different from the other, so make sure you honor that. And then once you're in a good place, nod your head up and down about 3 to 5 times. Beautiful. Head comes to neutral. Both arms are going to just reach up and overhead. Grab one wrist, give a little lift, tug, and tip over. Bring it through center, grab a little wrist lift, tug, and tip over. Nice. And then when you're ready, bring it back to center, float your arms down, give everything a little shrug and a little wiggle and a little shake. Grab your stick if you're sticking around. You guys are amazing. Nice job today. Grab your stick, clear your gear. No need for your weights for this bit. But we are going to start with our feet and our ankle work right away. So once you've got your stick, feet on the ground, feet about hip width distance apart, use your stick as just that point of contact. Lift your heels, lower your heels. We're going to start by going full range of motion. So you're going to start by lifting your heels all the way up and all the way down in a nice, slow, controlled pace. You're just going to tune in for a minute. And as you do this work, you can look at them, or you can just feel them out, or even turn yourself so that you can see yourself in your little window. And then we just want to see that or feel that our ankles aren't wobbling or wiggling too much. So we're going to go up and down to a height where there's not too much buckling in, not too much buckling out. Go for about 5 more up and down if you can. And we're going slow and full range of motion. All right, now we're going to switch to that halfway calf raise. So we're going to go for that halfway point. So if you need to, take a second, just give your calves a little pump and a little wiggle just to kind of ease out any of that tension that you may have found. And now we're going for that halfway point. So not full range of motion, lift up to the halfway point, lower back down. And then we're going to pick up the pace just a little bit. So we're lifting up halfway. So we might go slightly faster, less range of motion that we have to control. We still want to stay in control. We don't want too much wobble of the ankles, but with that half height, you might not find as much buckling in and out. However, you may feel a lot more pump of that tense feeling in the muscles of your calves. So notice if you're starting to feel kind of that sting, that little bit of burn, feel that good work happening. Go for about 3 more if you can. All right, now set your feet down. We're going to slide one foot back and then press into your heel. Get just a little bit of stretch to that calf. Take one good breath. We're not going to stay there for too long. And then step it and switch to the other side. Step your foot back, press into the heel. Get just that little bit of release and stretch. Nice. And then step it back in. And now we're going for a bounce. So stick is still going to help just support. So you keep balance, but it's not like a death grip. We just want it to be that point of contact. And now we're bouncing the heel. So now we're bringing a little spring into our ankles. You might spread your toes just a little bit more so you get a little bit of work happening through the muscles in your feet as well. We're going for that little bit of burn, so keep bouncing, keep bouncing. And then as you bounce here, you may notice just that little bit of vibration of bounce in your breath. super good for the lymphatic system. So let yourself bounce. Go for about 3 more cycles of breath if you can. Nice. And then once you've done about 3 cycles of breath, take your stick. We're going to drop it right down the back of the body. So we're going to keep the stick connected to the back of the head and to the tailbone. So we want to get that little bit of a configuration, and we're going to take it right into some squats the whole time. We're going to keep the tail and the back of the head connected to the stick. So it may change how deep you go into your squat. Go where you feel the strongest, where your knees feel good. Go butt back, bend your knees. That hip hinge that happens matches hopefully the line of your shins. So if you're just kind of sneaking a little peek of yourself in your window, or if you're looking in your mirror, take a look at your back and your shins, and they should go at the same little lever line, and then come back up nice and slow. Good job. Go for 3 more if you can. All right, now the next time you come up, we're going to keep our hands on our stick in that configuration, but now we're going to walk the hands in. They're going to kind of creep along the stick, trying to walk as close to each other as you can get without compromising your shoulders or without finding this big rounding through the back of the body. So opening through the chest, opening through the shoulders, take a moment to just find that shape. And then we're going to go for a hip hinge fold. So you're going to push your butt back, come forward into that hip hinge, and then come right back up. Check on your shoulders, make sure they feel good. And then if assuming it feels good, we'll do it again. Hip hinge, lean your heart forward, push your butt back. Come back up nice and slow. Adjust your shoulders as needed. We're going to go for 1 more. Hip hinge, lean yourself forward. Come back up, adjust as needed, but this time we're going to fold as far forward as we can, which means you're going to bend your knees. You're going to fold forward. You're going to keep that hold on your stick. But then once you get into that deeper folded position, you're going to think about letting the top elbow get a little bit heavier towards the ground. Take 1 more breath. Lift from the top of your head. Let your chest follow. Come up nice and slow and controlled. We're going to switch our grip so that we can come back to those squats. So you're going to put the other hand on top. Find that configuration again. So the head and the tail are connected to the stick, and then we're back to those squats. So keep that good connection point. Butt back, bend your knees. The spine and the shins are going to try to keep a similar line of leverage. So it should look like your stick and your shins are keeping the same plane of motion. You guys look amazing. Nice job. Beautiful. Go for 1 more up and down if you can. Nice job. And then as you come back up, walk your hands a little bit closer. So creep them up on the stick. Keep in mind, one side might feel a little different than the other. So make sure your shoulders feel good. There's no rounding through the back of the body. Once you've got your shoulders arranged, now we're going for that hip hinge. So you're going to push your butt back. Heart comes forward. Bend your knees as much as you need to. Come back up nice and slow and controlled. Push your butt back. Heart comes forward. This is a little bit more about the shoulder. So if there's a little bit of a tip of the tailbone or the stick doesn't stay connected to the tail, don't worry about that. Worry about your shoulders for this particular one. All right, now this time we're going to go for that big fold. So adjust your shoulders as needed. And then when you're ready, push your butt back, fold yourself over, come as far into that fold as you can. And then think about letting your top elbow get nice and heavy. Take 1 more breath. And then when you're ready, lift from the top of your head, let your chest follow, come up nice and slow and controlled. Now we're going to release our grip from the back of the body. Take a second to just give your shoulders a little shrug and a little wiggle. And then we're going to go palms facing back, but a slightly close grip. We're just going to lift the arms away from the back of the body. As we do this work here, now we're going to focus on imagining that as you pull the arms back, you're also going to try to pull the ribs back a little bit. So it's not a big arm move and the chest puffs forward. So we're going to pull the arms back, but pull the ribs back. So we open up through the chest and the collarbones, and then release the arms back down. Pull the arms back, pull the ribs back, release your arms back down. Pull the arms back, pull the ribs back. And that pull the ribs back is more an intentional space, not so much as like a big grand movement that happens. Pull the arms back, pull the ribs back. Go for 2 more if you can. All right, now we're going to hold our arms back in that outer position, and we're going to do little micro pumps of the arms. So think up an inch and down an inch, but a little bit of a pumping fashion, but make sure your shoulders and your chest feel okay. Hopefully here you'll start to feel just a little bit of burn in the front of the shoulders, but it should be a good sensation, like your muscles are working. One more little pump of the arms, and then we're going to widen our grip and then bend your knees, hip hinge, fold over, let your arms fall away from the back of the body, but give your arms as much space as they need so that they fall in a generous way. Take one more breath. Hands towards the low back, bend your knees a lot, lift from the top of your head, let your chest follow, release your stick down to the ground, and then we're just going to open up the shoulder a little bit. So we're going to step that stick onto the ground. Your feet are going to be about hip width distance apart, and then we're just going to move from the shoulder. So the body is going to stay as stable as it can. The tip of the stick is going to be on the ground, and then we're just moving the arm forward and back, but keep the arm fairly straight. So it's not a bend of the elbow that's making it happen. The work is coming right up from the top shoulder, and if it helps you find it, hand on the shoulder so you feel that joint and that muscle action happening. Adjust your stick as needed so that you're keeping your arm in that straight fashion and the shoulder work is happening. You guys look awesome. Nice job. All right, one more forward and back with that arm, and then we're going to switch it right over to the other side. So pass your stick over, tip to the ground, arm as straight as you can, and then we're moving it forward back. Hand to the shoulder, hand to the rib, hand wherever helps you find good work. We want the body to stay fairly stationary. We want the elbow to stay fairly straight. Nice. Take one more tip forward and back, and then we're going to start with that little toss of the stick from hand to hand. So bring it in, both feet on the ground, and we're just going to start by tossing the stick from one hand and tossing it to the other. And then once you've got that little bit of a pass happening and you know where your hands are, you know where the stick is, can you keep this happening but close your eyes down? Go for about 3 more passes from side to side with your eyes closed. And then once you've done about 3 with your eyes closed, reopen your eyes. Now we're going to keep that stick passing, but stand on one foot. Keep passing the stick back and forth. And then for this particular one, we're going to keep our eyes open, but we're going to keep our eyes focused forward. So your eyes aren't going to try to look to the stick. Your eyes aren't going to try to look to the hands. You're going to just keep your eyes steady and focused on a single point in front of you. Usually, typically, that means not my screen, because if I'm watching anybody else move, my whole body's moving with the movement. All right, when you're ready, you're going to keep your eyes fixed on that single steady point. You're going to switch your footing. You're going to keep that stick moving from side to side. You're not going to lose your focused gaze, and you're going to keep it going. Nice job. Nice job. All right, one more pass of that stick from side to side, and then set your foot down. So now we're going to think like a halo. You're just going to grab one end of your stick, and you're just going to start to rotate the stick around. There's that little pivot that happens right at that outside where you need to turn your wrist and let the wrist move so that your elbow and your wrist move and the stick stays facing down the whole time. So you're just going to halo that stick around. Move your wrist, move your elbow. Try to keep the bottom half of your body as stable as you can. Go for about 2 more times around. Awesome. And then when you're ready, pass that stick over to the other hand, and we're doing the same work there. So we do that little bit of a swivel around the outer edge, pivot your hand around. We're going to keep the stick tipping downward if we can. Nice job. Take 1 or 2 more times around, just depending on the pace that you're going. All right, and then when you're ready, bring that stick back to center. We're going to go stick facing the front of the body, palms facing backwards, so knuckles facing forward. Arms are going to stay steady at the side of the body, and we're just going for knuckle lifts. So we're just going to lift the stick just barely. It's mostly the wrists and the knuckles that are doing the work, and then the knuckles tip down. So it's not even a deep downward motion. It's mostly about the up, but we're going to keep that good even distance and space. So our hands are sort of connected to the front of the thighs, and our arms are sort of connected to the side of the body, but it's not militant. It's just a little bit of a snugged in feeling through the side of the body. All right, one more lift of the knuckles up and down. And then let your hands be in a neutral position. Lift your chin up and down, but now add a little bit of a tug, like you're pulling the stick apart or you're pulling the ends of the stick away from each other. So a little bit of an intentional tug apart. And now just your chin is lifting up and down. Keep that tug on the stick the whole time if you can. One more little tug, one more lift of the chin up and down, and then head is going to come to a neutral position. You're going to keep that tug on the stick, keep tugging, lift the arms up, keep tugging, lower the arms down. So the range of motion might look different on each of our bodies, but we want that little bit of a pulling apart sensation. So pull apart, lift up, pull apart, lower down. Go for 2 more if you can. Nice. And now the next time your arms lower down, you're going to tuck your chin down. You're going to bend your knees a lot. We're going to do a little bit of roll down, but you're going to imagine that you're peeling your back away from an imaginary wall behind you. So you're going to peel your back down. Go 1 vertebrae at a time. Keep that stick as close to your body as you can to keep that little bit of an intentional roll down. And then once you touch down towards the ground or as far down as you're going to go, bend your knees, pull your abdominal muscles in, keep that stick nice and close to your body, re-stick your back against that imaginary wall, and then lift your chin up. Tuck your chin down, peel your back away from that imaginary wall. Keep that stick nice and close to the front of your body. Encourage that nice rolling down through the spine. Come down into that fold just as far as your body likes to go, and then peel your way back up nice and slow. Last one here, and then we're going to come down into tabletop position. So when you're ready, tuck your chin down, peel your back down. Once you've come down into a folded position that you like the best, now you're just going to let your hands and your stick find the ground, lower yourself into a position, and then one hand on the stick, one hand on the ground, and we're just going to roll the palm. And then this will just be depending on the height of your stick. So if you have a very thick stick, you'll be just mindful about how much pressure downward you put into the wrist. But we're going to go 4 fingers on the stick. Palm is going to press down. So it's going to create a little bit of a gentle stretch to the fingers, the palm and the wrist, but go just as deep as feel. It should feel like a nice gentle stretch to the palm, but nothing extreme and no zinging pain up the arm. All right, take 1 more breath. Release that hand on the stick, and we're just rolling out the palm. Beautiful. 1 more little roll of the palm, and then 4 fingers on, palm presses down. Go just to the depth that feels good to you. So you shouldn't feel any zinging up the arm. It should feel good, safe, controlled, and you should be breathing really comfortably. All right, 1 more breath. Great. And then when you're ready, we're going to come up into a high kneel position. So if you want to cushion your knees or double stack your mat just so you have that little bit of cushion in front of your knees, we're going to bring the stick up to chest height. And we're going to go for our thigh stretch or Z sit. So you're only going to go back as far as your knees feel cool with or your tops of your thighs. So you're going to lean back into that Z shape and then come right back up. Lean back into that Z shape. You can also curl the toes under. That'll give you a little bit more stability and support, but it will change the stretch in the thighs. So go where you feel the strongest, where you feel the most supported. Your knees feel happy. You feel that little stretch in the tops of the thighs. Go for 3 more if you can. Nice. And then once you've done about 3 more, we're going to spin it around, sit onto our butt in a V-sit shape. And then we're going to take it right into our kayak rows. So get yourself around in the way that feels good. Hold on to that kayak oar in front of you. And then we're just going to start to lean back and tip your ends. So you're going to start with the feet on the ground. See how that feels. Find that little bit of lean back, that little bit of twisting momentum. And then if all of that feels good and you want that extra bit of challenge, you're going to float those feet up. Take your kayak for a row. Go one side, go the other, but keep the feet lifted the whole time. Beautiful job. Go 2 more times each side or even yourself out. And then once you've done about 2 more times to both sides, if your feet are lifted, set them down. We're going to come all the way down onto our back side. Once you're down on your back, we're going to keep the stick across the front hip points. You're going to imagine that your hands are trying to anchor the stick down and your butt is trying to push up. So we're going to go for a hip bridge, but you're going to create a little bit of sense of resistance. Your hands are going to push into the stick, create that sense of resistance, lift up. Keep that sense of resistance. So your hands are going to push down and your butt's going to do the work to control you from going down super fast. So find that sense of resistance. Use your hands, push into the stick, lift your butt up, fight the resistance on the way up. And then similar, fight the resistance on the way down, but in that slight different pattern because your hands are pushing down and your butt's trying to resist so it doesn't go down too fast. Lift up, resist with the hands. Lower down, resist with your butt. Go for 5 more if you can. Last one for me. So you go for the count that makes the most sense to you. And then once you've lowered down that last bit of resistance, you're going to keep your legs in a nice bent knee position. And we're just going to gently lift the arms up and down. So grab your stick. Inhale, arms are just going to reach up and overhead. Exhale, bring it back down. So maybe touching the thighs, maybe touching the hip points, totally up to you where your hands land. Inhale and lift it up. Exhale and bring it back down. We're going to go for 3 more cycles of breath. This is all about the breath, coordinating it with the movement. So inhale, arms go up. Exhale down. 2 more here if you can. Nice. And then when you're ready, we're going to come up into a lunging position with a knee down. So you're going to rearrange yourself in a way that makes good sense to you. Come on through. We're going to take that stick out in front of us. So one knee forward, one knee on the ground, and then we're going to lean out into it just a little bit. So we're going to sink into that front pocket area. So as we lean into that lunge, we want to feel like we're kind of stretching or stressing that front pocket. Use your stick. So don't lose your stability, but get that little bit of a deep stretch and then hang out there for just a second. Even for my yoga friends, go into it just a little bit more than you normally do because you've got that stick to support you. Take one big breath. Beautiful. Lift yourself up and then we're going to switch to the other side. So step your knee down, other foot forward, keep that stick on the ground, and then we're sinking forward. Go just where it feels safest to you. That good stretching sensation through that front pocket area. Nice. Take one more breath and then come out with control all the way up, and we're going to bring the stick behind our back. We're going to go for one shoulder over to finish the work. So bring that stick behind you, arms as wide as you like, feet as wide as you like, hip hinge fold over, let the arms fall away as generously as you can. Let your head relax down. And then once you're there, take 3 nice deep breaths. Soften your knees just a little bit, lift from the top of your head, let your chest follow, come up nice and slow and controlled. Step that stick down for just a minute, notice, catch your equilibrium, make sure everything feels good. And then once you feel good to go, give everything a little shake and a wiggle. You guys are amazing, nice work today. Every time I put a new challenge to you guys like shoot for the stars, never fails, amazing.